What up guys, Dan Does Games back in GCDC Global, and today we're taking an in-depth look at the new dual raid. Before we start, in the description below I should have a table of contents with timestamps. So if there is a specific section you want to view, you can jump to it. Otherwise, let's do it. Dual raid is yet another weekly activity, now putting our weekly activities at 3. To enter the dual raid, you will need 2 raid keys, which can be acquired from either treasure chests or in the Prana shop, which is going to make this a tough choice. Since Prana is the main way to get premium tickets, it's not something you want to sacrifice. After choosing a raid and finding a partner, each player brings 2 heroes and 3 party skills. The buffs, heals, and party skills are shared between teammates in match. One tricky thing to overcome is the lower SP gain rate. Because you only use 2 heroes, you won't be able to spam all your abilities and have to choose which skills to focus on. For the teams I like to use, each team will only be focusing on 2 main skills. So, let's take a look at team composition. Team 1 is going to have Last and Ronin. Last is going to focus on his second skill, Giga Slash for DPS, and Ronin will focus on his first skill, Sword Lancer. Sword Lancer is a critical skill here, since it will shield teammates from damage but also help keep Lei summons alive. Even if their shield isn't broken, you should try to prioritize topping off the shield. Ronin's second skill, Magic Defender, should be saved for key moments that I'll cover later. And Last's first skill, Laser Cutter, should only be used with excess SP. Team 2 is going to have Amy and Lei. Lei is going to focus on her second skill, Summon Haunt, and Amy will focus on her first skill, Loving You. Loving You is very important since it will provide both teams more SP, top off HP when Ronin's shield is broken, and also help keep Lei's summons alive. With extra SP, you should use Lei's first skill, Summon Jeeves, and if somehow you are really hurt, you can use Amy's second skill, Let's Dance. For party skills, either one player focus on stimulation and the other acceleration, or both players focus on stimulation. Personally, I am in favor of the latter. Double stimulation provides reliable SP for both teammates, consistently reduces cooldowns, and lets the team acquire ultimates faster. Now you may wonder why I stress defensive skills. It's because for the current 2 raids we have, the first 60% of the raid is mainly survival and building up your ultimate. The last part will be the final push, timing ultimates correctly and hitting the boss hard. Also, since Lei is the major damage dealer here, keeping her summons alive with shields and heals actually helps to keep her DPS up. Of course, you can do these raids with other heroes. I've done it with different compositions, but if you're starting out and try to get a feel for it, this is going to be one of the easiest compositions to start off with. Now that that's out of the way, let's finally take a look at the raids themselves. Starting with the first raid, Fire and Ice. The opening phase will start with Belial. He summons 2 waves of Void Tornadoes. Dodge these since they build stacks that increase damage taken. At the end, Belial will use his enemy gathering skill and AoE damage skill. Ronin should use Magic Defender to save teams some damage. Afterwards, he should move to phase 2 and split into Poseidon and Balzac. Lei team takes on Poseidon and Ronin team takes on Balzac. Lei's team will receive debuff stacks that increase damage taken by Fire Tornadoes, and Ronin's team will receive debuff stacks that increase damage taken by Ice Tornadoes. 2 waves of Ice Tornadoes will first come from the top left, then 2 waves of Fire Tornadoes will come from the top right, and repeat every 15 seconds until the phase is complete. If Ronin and Amy are healing and shielding consistently, you should only have to dodge your opposing element. The easiest places to position yourself will be along these lines. This should require the least amount of movement when dodging. Lei team will also have to dodge beam attacks from Poseidon. The damage isn't that high, but the knockback will mess up your positioning. The charge is long and obvious, so simply sidestep to avoid. Lei team will also have to try and keep Poseidon out of the center as much as possible. The AoE pools she leaves behind are permanent and greatly affect the final stage. Ronin's team has a simpler job of protecting Lei from burst damage from Balzac. Balzac will start to charge, and as soon as you see him jump in the air, use Magic Defender to save a lot of damage. For this phase, it's going to take a lot of practice to get the movement down, especially for Lei team. Just keep at it and see what movements work best for you. The final phase is relatively easier than the last. First, position yourself to the southeast side of the map. This is in preparation for later. Belial will cast a shield on himself, then start a charge attack. However, the explosion this time is instantaneous and has no lead-up animation. You have 2 options here. 1, start off with Last's ultimate to increase damage taken, then Lei's ultimate for big damage, then try and break Belial's shield quickly using Haunts and Giga Slash. If you are successful, it will cancel his attack, and he will take a big chunk of damage. If your DPS can't do this, your second option will be to block his attack. The charge time is around 7 to 8 seconds long. As soon as you see him start to charge, count to 6, then cast Magic Defender. This will block all damage from his skill, but requires tight timing. After that, he summons 2 waves of Void Tornadoes. At this point, these things are insta-death. so dodge them at all costs. This position is ideal for short movements with your dodges. At this point, focus on getting all 4 summons out and keeping them alive with heals and shields. If done correctly, Lei should be able to do most of the work to finish off Belial. If you fail to kill Belial fast enough, you will have to redo the Poseidon and Balzac phase again and then repeat. Unfortunately, there is one mechanic that I don't understand, and that is the last skill of the raid. I'm guessing these little blue and orange sprites are what they are referring to, but I don't know what you're supposed to do. In the raids that I do, we usually finish this fight before this even becomes a thing. But if you know how this works, please leave a comment and I'll pin it to the top so that everyone can see. Alright, raid 1 out of the way. Now for raid 2, Avatar of God. This raid is a little more forgiving for pickup groups, and you can even swap out some of the heroes, but I feel this team works very well, and for simplicity, I'll be using them also in this example. For Gaian, the main teamwork mechanic you will have to learn is his Earthquake attack. In the Temple of Time raid, you had to use golem corpses to block the attack. However, in the duel raid, one teammate will be targeted and the other teammate will be shielded. The shielded target must block the attack before reaching their teammate. Just know that when it warns you, watch out for the fallen Gaian's attack, make sure to move towards your teammate but not overlap them, and give yourself a bit of distance from Gaian. This should give you guys a sufficient amount of time to determine who is who and to move accordingly. Other than that, the majority of the fight is to avoid curse stack accumulation. This increases every time you are hit by a skill. A few of these are unavoidable, but all of the claw attacks should be always avoided. Easiest positioning will be to stay above or below Gaian at all times. The claw patterns always come out in a star shape like so, and being above or below Gaian will give you the shortest dodges so that you can maintain DPS. The other thing is to always prioritize killing the golems. Gaian summons golems slowly over time, and each one of these will spawn claws at the same time as Gaian. If these go unchecked, the amount of claws and subsequently the stack accumulation from them will get out of control. The final part will be when Gaian hits 30% health, his stack accumulation and damage will increase significantly, and it will be a damage race to stop him. The most successful strategy I've seen to stop him will be to start with Amy's ultimate for ability spam, then Lass's ultimate to increase damage. Lei will focus on keeping summons out, Amy will focus on her Loving You skill for heals and SP, Lass will be Giga Slashing, and Ronan will be focusing on shields and timing Magic Defender to block all claw waves. This is a risky move, but if you stick together and time invincibility perfectly, you can focus damage while ignoring the claws and finish Gaian quickly. This is sort of a speedrun tactic to finish the final phase as fast as possible. It's very risky since stacks from the claws accumulate quickly. So if you find your team isn't doing enough damage to end it there, play it safe and instead dodge the waves. You should be able to finish it just a bit slower. Alright, that is it for raid 2. Lastly, let's talk about the rewards. We are doing this for our main set weapon, which will be a higher tier than the one you can get from the regular raid. The first 10 times a week you complete a raid, you will get a chest that either gives you a random weapon from a select list depending on the raid, or it will give you 5 pledge marks. After you get 100 pledge marks, you will be able to craft a main weapon of your choosing. But now here is the sneaky thing about this. Being the host of Duel Raid gives you double loot, meaning if you were to host 10 games, you'd get 20 chests. Whereas if you joined 10 games, you would get 10 chests. Assuming you got no weapons from the boxes, 10 hosts a week will yield one main weapon of your choosing, whereas 10 joins would take 2 weeks for a main weapon. Wish I had known that before I joined other rooms in my first 10 completions. And after your first 10 weekly completions, subsequent completions will reward large amounts of gold with diminishing returns. And that about covers the 2 current duel raids in global. Oh my lord, this is going to be one long video. One thing I want to say is that these aren't as hard as they seem. They just need practice and experience. You need to learn your role, which means you need to learn positioning, minimizing your movements on your dodges, what skills to focus on and when to use them, and of course the mechanics of the raid. Day 1, I died in 10 seconds. By the way, Acrimony, if you watch my videos, I just want to say my bad. I noobed really hard that day. Day 2, I played with Infinity and was sort of getting the idea, but I was still dying a lot and I didn't fully understand all the mechanics. And now by this video release, I'm pretty confident in my role. Don't get me wrong, being a whale gives me more room to mess up since my characters are near max, but I've seen much lower BP teammates handle the raid just fine. Just keep at it, follow these tips, and I'm sure you'll be fine. The final thing I recommend is using Discord to coordinate with people. Besides being able to voice what you're doing and what you need, When you build a bond with another player, you'll learn each other's strats and roles, to the point where it'll be mechanic and you won't even have to make calls anymore. This should be something that all guilds provide in my opinion. However, you can also test your luck on the official Grand Chase Discord. They have a looking for group and a dual raid section, but so far I don't think I've seen anyone actually use it. And of course you can do the pickup groups in game. I've completed a few of them now without any problem, but every now and then there's always that occasional noob who messes up completely. Don't hate on them, however. I mean, everyone has to start somewhere. I'll just say, if you're doing pickup groups, have a bit of patience. And then if you are really antisocial and just don't want to work with others, then I hope you don't care about min-maxing, since this will always provide the strongest main weapon. Alright, that does it for this video. This was a very lengthy topic. It was hard to try to cut down while covering everything, so hopefully you found this video helpful and not too long. If you dig it, leave a like and subscribe for more content. I got new guides every Tuesday and then sporadic videos throughout the week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.